Our next guest today is all about the power of positivity and using it to make a difference in our community. We're joined by motivational speaker, radio host, and videographer, Jonathan Smith, aka TeflonJohn. And let's talk all about your brand, your radio series. You have so much going on, and you're really, really talented. Tell me more about TeflonJohn.
Thank you. So TeflonJohn is just the overall brand, right? So that's who I am and who I became, trying to motivate and trying to break through some of the barriers in our community, in our society. And what better way to do that through content, right? Content is forever in front of us. The telephone now with the cell phone has become the new television. And through that you have YouTube, Instagram. And so I've picked my platform of podcasting, videos, and such to kind of connect with people.
And let's talk more about that. You have a radio app as well. Where can folks go to learn more about that? And let's talk about some of those messages you have out there and some of those people you've interviewed. It's pretty fascinating.
Okay, so the radio show is new. And so you can actually go on the Apple Play Store and the Google Play Store and download it at TeflonRadio, one word. And so through that, I want to start a series of shows just like I did with podcasts. And so the first one would be the Real Talk with Teflon in the morning show. You're going to get some comedy skits. You're going to get what's going on locally. And you're also going to get some thought-provoking content. I always want someone leaving that, that interview or that, experience with me just with a seed planted in their mind. Today, I want to talk to you guys about daring to be different. I want you to dare to be different. And I want to really talk about integrity. Right? When you have integrity, when you're trying to do the right thing, you're not going to be favored by a lot of people. As far as the podcast, I had the privilege of interviewing Andre Kendrick, who was an EC Glass graduate and an EC Glass standout in football, who also went to Virginia Tech. And we talked about just how he got to that journey, right? So they'll see people like yourself, they see people like me, but they don't know our journey, our story.
Right.
And you're hearing a lot about mental health, but I think a lot of people are comparing themselves to people due to social media to a snapshot. But they don't realize that you and I, Andre Kendrick, these guys went through a lot to become who they are.
That's a very good point. And you have a Wizard of Oz themed talk coming up, and you have some pretty profound thoughts in that. Tell me more about that.
Yeah, so that one, you can never forget about nursery rhymes and stories and movies that you saw as a kid. So right. I like to connect with something that everyone knows. So that podcast episode number 78 is called Off to See the Wizard. And it's really about Dorothy and the gang going to visit someone or going down a path that someone put them on because they were told in order to achieve this, you must go down this path. How many times have you heard that in life where someone's trying to shape the way that you're going to go after your dreams, right? And so by them going to the yellow brick road, they get to the end and they realize this guy is just pushing buttons. There is no wizard. But what's funny about that was the journey is what opened what was already in here, right? And sometimes in life when we're on that journey, the bumps in the roads, the ups and downs, that's really what's going to make us who we are without having to go see a wizard, right? But sometimes we may have a wizard in our life. We may have people that want to control our destiny, that want to manipulate us, but it's up to us to figure out that we can unlock what's in here by just staying course.
I love that idea. And then you also interviewed a poet who's a teacher at Dunbar. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yes, ma'am. So Nicholas George is a poet. So he used to be the founder of The Listening, which was a local nonprofit here in Lynchburg, Virginia. But it's good to see his journey to highlight one of our local leaders who are in touch with our kids. And right now you see where violence is taking really like an uprise. And so I wanted to highlight him, but as you see and learn from him is that he was running away from his calling the entire time. If you go back and watch the video where teaching was ultimately like pulling him, right? He was running away from teaching thinking that he was going to do something else, but through a talk with his mom, he realized, no, this is what I'm called to do.
And speaking of which, you are called to do a lot. You create music as a producer, you create video, and if folks out there need anything, you pretty much can do it all. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so my overall goal is creating a brand called Infinite Media. And with Infinite Media, if you can see me, if you can hear me, then Infinite Media was responsible for either producing that content, recording the audio, editing that video. And what I want to do is be able to be a beacon to local businesses or local content creators where I can help them get out there. And then more specifically to a branding point. A lot of people understand how to get behind the camera and hit the record button, but they may not understand how to operate within the niche of the brand that they're in. And so that's where I want to, kind of separate myself from a lot of videographers and content creators, is helping you actually grow in that niche that you're trying to get in that industry.
Wonderful. So really so much to learn, whether you want to check out some of those interviews or go to the radio itself. For more information about TeflonJohn, 434-229-4027. You can find him at I Am TeflonJohn on Facebook, TeflonRadio on Facebook, or online at TeflonJohn.com.